All right, welcome back. And we got this case in the garage today. The Corsair Crystal 570X RGB, all that goodness. So let's talk about this case, review, and first off, I'm gonna start about saying I hate this case. I really do. I just really don't like this case. And let me tell you why. So this case was released back in 2016. It's by Corsair, and it is all glass, which is the first thing I don't like about this case. It's all glass, and it's nice, it's a great aesthetic, but it's quite annoying. And here's why. Number one, this case is like 25 pounds. It's heavy. It's heavy. It's pretty heavy, and becomes quite cumbersome when you have to move it back and forth, especially when you add in your hardware and all that stuff. And I've seen this weigh up to like almost, 50 pounds I've weighed this thing at, with full hardware, all hard drives, massive video card, heavy power supply. So it gets quite heavy, and that's the first thing we don't like about it. Now, talking about the glass, the top, the front, and the sides is glass, and they're pretty thick glass, I will say that. I mean, heavy duty, pretty thick. But here's one of the issues that I don't like about it. Number one, the glass, you're gonna have to wipe it all the time, and this smudges. So you touch over here, now you got a smudge. Touch over here, you got a smudge, you got to wipe it down. But worse yet, you get dirt or smudge over here. Now you have to take this apart, which it's not hard to do, but like I said, it just becomes cumbersome if this is like your focal prettiness of your computer setup, and then you got to wipe that down, and that just becomes aggravating. So I'm not a big fan of the glass. Now, one cool thing that they did do, I will say, is that they left a pretty decent gap, if you see right over there, so you get plenty of airflow in from the sides, even up from the top, and even over here you have a good airflow. And there goes a truck. Okay. So yeah, you definitely do have plenty of airflow. They do have the mesh up here at the top, which when you take these out, the mesh comes right out. Very simple, magnetic. Same thing with the front. And the mesh has pretty good pores. I don't even think I can get that in the camera. There you go. Has pretty good pores, so it's not restrictive. So yes, kind of nice, but more aggravating when you're having to deal with the maintenance and cleaning aspect of it. So that's one of the things I definitely don't like and kind of do like. Now, let's talk about other things about it. So back in 2016, this thing was released, and it was going for almost $200. 4 years later, 2020, this thing still costs $189 at Best Buy, costs $179 at Newegg, and my opinion, it's kind of outdated itself for two reasons. Number one, if you look over here on the top, you don't have your USB Type-C. So if I'm paying $179, I kind of want to have that feature up here. So yeah, that's one thing I don't like. Another thing too is, if you look, when they designed this, it doesn't have the cover or the shroud, and some do. I've seen some with, and I've seen some people come up with some ideas for this. It doesn't have the cover or shroud. I have bought one for another customer a couple of months back because this is what they wanted, and it didn't have the shroud. And to me, the shroud is what kind of helps keep this thing clean. I've seen some awesome looking builds with this computer. I mean, phenomenal. Water cooling, the whole shebang. But then when you go in and you do the side angle over here, you see all the mess of wires, like kind of showing you right over here, but you can see the wires. And unless you're pretty good at wire management and all that stuff, that becomes cumbersome. And then another thing to consider is, if you do cable extenders to kind of do the custom sleeves, now you're gonna have all that slack in there, and I've seen it stick out, and it becomes very sloppy. So that's another thing I'm not a huge fan of as far as that. Another aspect is that Corsair is very proud, and let's see if we can get that over here, very, very proud of their name, as they got their name and logo over here, and they also got it in the front, right over here, down here. Don't know if that comes on the camera. So yeah, and it illuminates white, and if you want to plug it in, it goes plugged in to a SATA power over here, and you got that white illumination. So I guess they're proud of their name, which is awesome. To me, this thing is overpriced for what you're getting for at least 4 years later. Now, if they had dropped the price to maybe about $80 to $120, I think I could honestly say that it is a better bang for the buck, but considering it's so heavy, you have to deal with this headache of trying to hide your wires. Something to think about. Now this case, when you do buy it, it does come with 3 120 millimeter Corsair SP fans, and it comes with this right over here. and this is what controls your RGB and all that goodness. Yeah. And with that, you do all your fan and all your controls and your lighting right up here. So you can do this without the software. But if you do get upgrade to one of their command centers, like in this case over here, this has one of their Corsair command center things right over here. It goes plug into here, and then you can use it through the Corsair iCUE software. So more wires, in my opinion, more wires and more cable management. And this thing is not the best as far as cable management. So let's talk about drives and the wiring on the back. So you got a glass right over here, and cable management in the back, as everybody knows, can be quite cumbersome, and it's going to take a lot of time to do it. And over here, they don't give you the best provisions. Now, this case comes with a channel over here that hides all this, which does a decent job cleaning it. But let's say you have your ATX, your PCI Express, and all the other wires, you can't close it, and it bulges out. And I wish I had that piece to show it over here. So putting all your cables over here nice and neat does become a bit of a headache, and you can't use the channel. We had to take it off because we couldn't fit all our wires through here. It just wouldn't screw in, and yeah, it was not cool to use. One thing I definitely don't like. Now, your drive bays. You have two 3.5s over here, which is fine, is normal, you know, for a case. But one thing that you will run into, and I wish I had a drive over here to show it, is that when you put the SATA power over here and you put your SATA connector over here to the motherboard, they kind of hang out awkward, and the drive kind of sits upside down in a way, the way it mounts, where you just kind of see the PCB board in the back of the hard drive, which I guess that's an okay aesthetic. I'd rather just have the sticker sticking out front, peel off the sticker, and give you more of a cleaner look. But yeah, you kind of run into that. And the wires just kind of are very awkward, and they don't fit properly, and it's hard to make it look clean, to say the least. At least the SATA ones are not too terrible. It does come with the channels over here. They actually have one for this right over here, so you can put your two SSDs, this right over here. Yeah, and there's not a lot of space to hide the stuff. So now if you take a look at, you got to hide this, place this in place, you got to place this, and if you even have one of those big controllers from Corsair, yeah, good luck wiring all that up and hiding it clean. So wiring management in the back is just, there's not many places to tuck it. The idea they came up with it doesn't really suffice in my opinion, and you're just dealing with a lot of headache, and this could be very time consuming in a build. Wire management in a build is very time consuming as it is, and this case, in my opinion, doesn't help that issue. So I mean, you got anchors over here to tie them down and all that stuff, but if you had 3 Corsair fans in the front, 3 up in the top, you got one over here, I mean, you're talking about tons of wires. And let's just take a look at these fans. These are the LL fans, and look at this rat nest of wires just for these 4 fans, each having 2 connectors over here. So you got this rat nest of wires routing it over here. Yeah, not ideal. So I'm not a huge fan of this case for the simple fact that the wire management is not ideal. The glass becomes cumbersome cleaning. It is very heavy. You don't have a front, not a front, but a power supply thing over here to kind of hold it and hide everything. I've seen people do some 3D printing and come up with some cool ways to kind of clean that up a bit, and other ideas and mods that they do. So yeah, honestly, for the price, $189 4 years later, it's not worth it. It's definitely not. And you could get better cases, like Lee & Lee makes awesome case, Fantex makes some awesome case. There's some awesome cases that you can get which are way cheaper. You could accommodate RGB, nicer to build, and they just got a better look in it. So yeah, this is my review of the case. 4 years later, definitely not worth the money. I don't know why the price is still high for this case. It's just, in my opinion, like it. Many people like it, and it's a great aesthetic, and it will work for somebody who's looking for this type of build. But I just kind of want people, whoever are looking to buy this case and watch this review, just take these things into consideration. You're gonna spend a lot of time on cable management. It's overpriced, and cleaning it is tedious and very cumbersome, in my opinion. So yeah, that's where we're at. So definitely comment down below. Let me know your thoughts of this case. Do you like this case? Do you still have this case, or do you even think it's worth buying? And maybe some things I've missed talking about this case. And definitely like this video if you do like it. Subscribe if you're not. Thanks for watching, and we'll see what we come up with next.